G'day everyone, it's Gonzalo here from the Resonate crew, and welcome to the third edition of Resonate TV. We're here at Cars Park. Behind us is Colga Bay. It's a beautiful Sunday morning, and I'm really happy to have here with me our headliners for our next Resonate event, Sydney's finest of trance, Lax and Lokesh. Welcome, boys.
Hey Gonzalo, happy to be here. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for joining me.
Hey Gonzalo.
How you going?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Many of you guys will know the boys, but for those viewers who do not, Lax and Lokesh are trance DJs and producers who are behind Transcendence. So Transcendence started back in 2015, and they brought to Sydney, a whole myriad of the finest of trance producers from around the world, including the likes of Solarstone, the Thrill Seekers, Sean Tyre, Schneider, Kieran McCauley, and most recently Asteroid. I really enjoyed that set with that Asteroid played at the Underground. It was
he was actually really excited.
Yeah.
I think he said it was his best Sydney gig.
Really?
I think he actually did say that after the gig. That was my best.
It was so good. Like, it started off really like chilled with the classics, and then he just built it up, and I just like, wow, just the energy, the flow was really good. Yeah. So Lax and Lokesh are also known for their drive-in trance productions, including Summit, an EP released on Sean Tyce's Generate record label in 2024, as well as their productions, including their remix of Still Part of My Life, On the Way, and Adelaide. As DJs, they have played at trance events in Sydney, supporting the likes of Paul Van Dyke, Marcus Schultz, Ferry Corsten, and recently they played at God's Kitchen, supporting the likes of Gable and Dresden, Solarstone, and Ali and Fila. So yeah, like I said before, we're really happy to have them as our next headliners for our second Resonate event on the 22nd of August at the Burdekin for a 2-hour set. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes, so are we.
Yeah.
Very exciting, and thank you for the opportunity.
Nah, it's a pleasure. Between Bats, Stephen and myself, we're really happy to have you boys come on board. So tell us about your background in trance. Where did the journey begin for you both?
I guess it funnily enough began with my older brother listening to trance growing up. So he was a big trance head, back in post-subbies days, early 2000s, and he would always listen to it in his room, and then we kind of got the flavour from there.
Yeah.
I remember going to trance gigs probably mid-2000s, and I'd go for a week, and then I'd listen to trance, but back then I was still listening to more like hip-hop and R&B, and I'd just go back to that. And that's where it started, Oh, yeah, what's this hard music? What's this kind of flavour of music? And kind of just built from there into, more of a, I guess, love for it.
It's interesting how you mentioned that, like, I hear a lot of people say, they started off like as in, when the teenage years, listen to R&B, hip hop. I remember around the 2000s, it was Craig David around, it was really popular. Right. Obviously Usher and all that.
People used to say it looks like Craig David.
Oh.
That's right. It's like Craig David. See with the beanie, the Craig David beanie.
And then it was like, and then you hear this compilation, or like in your case, your older brother is playing trance. What is this stuff, man? It's just like you get drawn to it.
Yeah. And what's quite interesting about electronic music as a whole is the ability to listen to stuff without words, because there's a lot, even people now that don't listen to electronic music will never consider the production behind the words. They'll attribute the song to the vocalist, but there's a massive producer behind that, who's like, Scott Storch or Timbaland, or they're big producers, but they're backing artists. So when you make that transition from hip hop to trance, you start listening to music for the music, not the vocals. And that's like something that takes time to then eventually get into. And then you go, whoa, okay, there's something here.
That's right. It's true. And at least from my experience, when I started to listen to trance, for me, it started off with probably Ferry Corsten and then with Tiesto. And I noticed how, for me personally, it was just the emotion. Like, it's like, whoa, what's going on? This is really grabbing me. And I could start to to obviously you got the melodies that are more, capture you the most, but then there's the other elements that you start to hear, and then I also started to have a liking for tech. So then tech trance. So then you hear, those other elements as well, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're both producers. Who's the eldest out of you both?
I guess that would be me by 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in terms of production, who takes the lead out of you both?
That was a good question.
Yeah.
There's no real lead, I guess. We have we start songs, and then he might start a song, and then I may come into it later. Then I may start a song, he may come into it later. But we definitely have our own strengths in productions. So I'm more like the melodic or the melody or the emotion out of the track, so I can pull that out. I can write more chords and melodies and counter melodies, and Lokesh is more the drive and tightness and sound engineering, and that's where we complement each other.
That's really cool. Yeah, because it's two minds combining in terms of your different talents and where you pick things. Do you with regards to with melodies and things like that, is it like a drop of the hat? Like I was watching a video of Steve Hellstreet when he was talking about synesthesia, I think it was, and it just came to him, and it was like, oh, I gotta go into the keyboard and start playing.
Yeah. It's an interesting question because there's many ways to write melodies, right?
Yeah.
And you got to have a strong background in music theory to be like Steve Hellstreet, where it sort of came to him, because a guy like him would be able to play the melody out and have piano experience. Now, early in the going, we learned chord theory and music theory and stuff to do that. But now it's kind of like you see, if we look at other top producers, you see like a bit of an approach that some guys play it out, but other guys program the notes in and then move those notes around.
Yeah.
Some guys will move notes around on just intuition. Some guys will actually know which chords and which keys sit in the scale, and which chords work with each other. So we're kind of like in between playing, and guys are just moving notes around. Like we know which chords work, we know music theory, we've studied it enough now. So melody wouldn't come to us necessarily, but we know which chords are working with the next chord, which emotion we're looking for in the next chord that's coming in from the next. Because when you're creating a melody, it's kind of like over 8 bars or 16 bars.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you're looking for in that next, and then you just mess around with it. And, eventually you'll get to that end point where your melody, I think Lax is probably a more intuitive way. For me, to answer it in more of a simple form, some melodies take a long time. Others just come to you. Like I can write pianos much quicker than I can like a main lead.
Yeah.
Like I was just telling him, we have this new song coming out on a big label, which we won't disclose yet.
Sure. That's exciting.
Yeah. And I said, I wrote a top melody after we finished the whole song, and I literally wrote it in 10 minutes, and then I didn't have to touch it ever again.
Right.
But the lead for that song took 3.5 hours to make.
Yeah.
Of trial and error. And it was actually like the second lead. So some things take time, some things come to you naturally. It just depends on the element as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like sometimes you get that rush of emotion, you're like, and then you write something and it sticks with you.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I mean, if you want to keep touching on production as a whole, I can give you some more insights there. But it takes a lot of time to just understand even the basics of it. I think a lot of guys, if there was to be any tips to guys that are starting off, is don't try and rush things, because when you try and rush things, or when you try and become a superstar from year one, your ears haven't even adjusted to separating the sounds. Like that takes years in itself to be able to hear like a little asset in the background just pass through versus a consumer hearing, So I think a lot of guys that try and use AI, or they try and get people to make their tracks, and they never really, really get into it, but that will stop them in the long run.
Yeah.
So I really think you got to be patient with producing, and that's what we have been. And that's why it's been like 10 years. And only now we've sort of started to see those big releases,
Yeah.
So it's definitely a journey, a long journey, but you got to be patient with it,
That's true. So there's definitely, it's a journey in itself, and it's not like a drop of the hat kind of thing. I mean, obviously with the more experience kind of producers that have that musical training, it makes it a little bit more easier. It's the same with, like, I guess, trying to learn a musical instrument. You know, it takes time to master it. You know, and to be able to get to a point where you're comfortable with the instrument, and then you're able to express yourself in a way that it's the kind of sound that you want to come out with the instrument, whether it's the guitar, the piano, the saxophone, or whatever, you know. So
yeah. But Mark 6 months told me it took him 10 years to be at a point where he thought he was professional, and that's exactly what we think. I think it takes you 10 years to get to a point where you think, okay, I'm professional.
Yeah.
And Fairy Tale said the same thing. He said it took him 10 years to be happy with his bass lines.
Wow.
So it does really take that long, and you understand why. Now what we can do, it takes us much quicker, and we can hear things that I could have never even picked up, even 7 years into it. Yeah. And it's now getting fun, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's it. And we'll keep an ear out for that, you know, that release. That'll be exciting. So keep an eye open. I also want to ask you boys about Transcendence. It's been now 11 years. How did it all come about? What was the driving factor? You know, because I mean, you guys have hosted, and I've been myself to a lot of the events. Mates, like one of them was Steve Fellstrip. That was in 2022, and it was just it was a Hydro event, you know, at the Civic, and it was just after the lockdowns and all of that. And I'm like, with my mate, I'm like, oh, they bring out Steve, and it's just like, wow. And it's just, I remember it being like, my experience was very much like the events that I went the first time, the
played vinyl that event,
the Goosebumps and all that.
He played a vinyl set that event.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So yeah, tell us about Transcendence. How did that all?
I mean, the Steve Hellstrip event was supposed to go ahead. COVID dropped the week or the month he was supposed to come.
Yep.
So we had it selling. Then all these COVID alerts came out, and literally, I think 4 weeks out from he was supposed to get here, they announced full lockdowns and flights, and that event was delayed for 2 years. He basically kept all the funds. We let the flights were just kept with Emirates.
Yeah.
And we were hanging like every month, year. Eventually became 2 years before we rebought him out.
Yeah.
But how it came about, I mean, that's just a funny side story since you mentioned that event. And that's why it was actually Hydra, because Hydra was released 2 years before that.
It was, yeah.
And that's when the tour was fresh. But he's like, I can just come back and do my Adjusted, which is like my vinyl classic thing. I go, no, I want people to see Hydra. Like, you know, it was just hyped up for so long. So we kept the Hydra even after 2 years. But it's why he did the classic set at the end of it. But how it came about, actually, Transcendence was TMAS was massive.
Yep.
And long story short, the level of commitment from them was so... It was Facebook groups. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember TMAS?
Of course, right? I do, yeah.
Most people, everyone does that. The owner of that group, who I'm not going to say any names, but... And he's a guy, a good guy, don't get me wrong, but he just wasn't committed to the project, right? And at the time, as real trance fans, we were like, what we wanted this group to be isn't it? So I started Transcendence as a Facebook group and invited, like, we all started just our own group and mates. And I used to walk around trance events recruiting people to join this group.
Yeah.
While I was out on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And eventually got to 500 people. And I was at that point, it snowballed into like something that was self-growing.
Yeah.
It started as a Facebook group.
Yeah.
And then when the group was big enough, so many of us trance lovers, I'm like, well, we're just going to hold an event, because there was a promoter in Melbourne called James Willis.
Yep.
And he ran Transgression events.
Oh, right. Yep.
Right. And he was bringing down Darren Porter at the time, and he had Ping Q. And then he basically was like, look, I need someone in Sydney, because what happens in any booking, right, is a tour. Any artist I bring, I can never buy him as a singular show. I have to buy him as a tour. So he wants 2 or 3 legs. It's only worth it to come to Australia for that. So you're always in a conversation of either I want this artist, so the guy you're talking to as an agent goes, all right, what tour can you offer me? Or you're talking to the local guy, who in this case was James, who was like, I've already got the guy organized, but he needs a local promoter in the other city to complete the tour. So we became that part of that Sydney. And then eventually the first gig we ever did was Fady and Mina.
Yeah.
And that was in Bondi.
Yep.
The second gig we ever did was Fairy Tale,
which I think I was there. I remember.
Yeah. That was a really
I absolutely love Fairy Tale in that period. It was just playing beautiful tracks.
And then it just snowballed from there, man. Who was the third gig we did? can't remember. Oh, there was that fairy tale and there was the third. I can't even remember. There's been that many. But yeah, essentially it started off as a Facebook group where we just talked trance. That's all it was. Then all these people started coming around, and eventually for some reason we started getting this pressure about, hey, you guys should run an event. You guys should run an event. Right. And then we met James, and it kind of aligned that way. Yeah. And we're like, all right, why not? But there was also a second reason, because we just started producing. And I knew back then somehow Trancendence and Lax and Lokesh would come together. Yeah. That this would be our platform to make sure that we can get in front and play with our favorite DJs and get our name out there. So we always knew, even from then, that Lax and Lokesh and Transcendence would always grow itself. Yep. And I guess, you know, even doing this or whatever interview, there's so much hard work over 10 years of running our own events to give ourselves that platform. And put our own money behind it and learn all the marketing and everything. It's that's how you build it, you know. And it takes time. It takes time, you know. And I myself, we've running Resonate with Steve and Vats. We're starting to understand that level of commitment, you know. That's right. It's you know, we're doing it out of passion, but it is also a commitment to do something that you know, people are going to really enjoy and go, wow, this is worth my time to come out, and also my money, you know? Yeah, at the end of the day. So, you know, and go away at the end of the night and going, you know, I really enjoyed that, you know? Yeah, what trance events and trance has given to me has been experience and life experience and enjoyment. Like, what it's paid me back in terms of enjoyment, it's like such an important part of my life in that sense. Yeah. And that's how it gives to me, you know? Yeah. I go to these events, you know, all these people like yourselves, you've met all really good artists, you've played with them. Like, these are things that you've dreamed of. But it's just a really, really good part of your life to, like, build your hobbies out, and then obviously producing as well. Yeah. But funny enough, man, I love producing, I think, more than I love DJing. Yeah. Yeah. I love just making music. That's cool. Yeah. I should have started doing a bit of production years ago, not now that I have family, but I always kick myself because, like you guys, we share the same passion for the music, you know. You know, and you know, it doesn't stop. You know, there was a time there I wasn't really in. You know, I think it was around probably the COVID period that I wasn't really following enough trance, because I was also going to uni as well, so you know, I had other commitments. And then came towards the time where, you know, I was nearing graduation. I was like, oh, I want to get back into it. Yeah, it's just like, it never leaves you. Right? It's just, you know, it's just like, it's always there. And right now, it's just really exciting with Resonate and having you boys come to the next event. Talking about DJing, how do you guys define your style? Energetic, dance floor driven. I'm very, very big on playing tracks that move people naturally. There's a lot of tracks I love, but they're just not dance floor friendly. And you'll always find that we will play tracks that keep you moving. You know, when you just hear a song and you just want to do this to it? Yeah. You don't have to struggle to want to do this to it or to do this to it. That's the songs that I always pick in the pool of all the tracks that we have in our USBs for things. So it's about the energy. It's about keeping people moving. Even in the warm-up situation that you saw at God's Kitchen, there's this balance between warming up but not keeping the crowd bored, because I don't want people standing around. I don't want to play this nice, airy track, but it just keeps people standing there and looking. Yeah, that's true. And I think there's a time and place for that in the set. Don't get me wrong, because people need breathers in sets, but not at that time of the night. And it's very intuitive in the way we do it. But it's an energetic and dance floor driven, I would say. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely an art form with regards to how you play your sets. It's not like a random thing, and you just you got to know your tracks. You got to be able to feel the crowd as well. But you also want to be able to put your stamp to it, you know, and you boys do that really, really well, you know, with your style, you know. So, yeah. I'm not even sure how you guys perceive the style from the outside. What do you perceive it as? No, uplifting, driving, you know, engaging, fun, you know. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. And that's the main thing, you know. It's because trance is about
not trying to copy others. It's just you having that, your personal touch and how you want to evoke that emotion in people, when it goes through those high peaks, and then you want to kind of bring it back down so people people want to have a bit of a breather,
Yeah.
You don't want to just slam anthem after anthem, but
That's right.
you want to be able. And for me, I don't know about you boys. I guess it's probably the same. It's about the journey.
Yeah. Your set of Resonate was really good when I went. It was really good,
thanks.
man. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a while since I've played, and to be able to put something like that people are able to just to feel something. That's the main thing. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
That's it. At the end of the day.
One thing with us also is we play to our set time. So if we play for an opening set, we've gotten quite good at playing progressive, and we don't believe in any event that you can't be versatile. You're not the main act. You're a part of a collective event which has to go through the night. And if you play too hard too early, you suck the energy out of the room, and everyone gets tired very early. So you really think about these things, which is why we've played for so many artists as openers.
Yep.
And we've played progressive, so we are able to adapt as well. So we look at everything as a whole.
Yeah.
Like we love the energy, but we can bring that same level of commitment out, even playing progressive and playing to our set time, which I think is really important, especially for DJs who want to start off. And if they're going to be like, you're opening for a big guy, like let's say Solarstone, you can't play harder than him before that.
No.
You got to respect that as well.
That's
so
right.
we've always done that as well.
Yeah, cool. All right. I've got a bit of a cheeky question here. We've got to have a few laughters, so All right. What's your preference in terms of food? El Jana, pizza, or butter chicken?
Oh, that's a tough one. I like all of them on their day, to be honest.
Nah, look, if it was the last meal and I was going to be put in the electric chair, it'd be butter chicken. I can't get past my roots,
I honestly a really good butter chicken. That was the first thought also. But like on a standard, EJ's good protein, nice meal, wraps, Yeah, I probably put pizza at the end of that road, but I still love a good pizza. But I probably would be saying, eating more El Jana or butter chicken.
Yeah. Definitely week to week, we eat a lot of we would eat a lot more chocolate chicken than butter chicken.
Yeah.
But if it was like, final meal would be butter chicken. But I still love a good chocolate chicken. But pizza like him is more at the bottom, not for taste or anything, but just the carb blowout and,
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, boys, for your time this morning. Thanks so much for coming out in this lovely spot here in got Cocker Bay in the background. It's just beautiful setting. There's a lot of people doing their morning walks and whatnot, and thanks for sharing a little bit about you guys, what you guys are about, and we are really looking forward to having them both come and play at Resonate, our second event. I think they're going to absolutely deliver something that's got to be memorable. You guys, for those that come, you walk away and you think back and go, wow. So we're obviously going to try and record all our sets. So, So definitely, you guys. Yeah.
And then even on that, right, we'll touch on the set for the night because we're excited. We'll give it our best. We always do. I think every set we plan is meticulous.
Yep.
We always go on with the game plan. Right, there's always a game plan, and sometimes that game plan works out. Sometimes it changes through the night, depending on how the set is people are reacting. Like Alien Feeler, I don't know, were you at the Metro Theatre at the December 2024 gig when Alien Feeler came?
Yeah.
We played just before them, and we had a plan walking into it, but the crowd, 3 songs in, we realized we were reacting to vocals, and then we dropped I Don't Deserve You, Jock Remix, and it changed the thing. So sometimes you change it, but sometimes walk in. So for the guys that are coming, we'll plan it very meticulously. We'll give it our best. And we're looking forward to it, man.
That's so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the one thing I was telling Gonzalo earlier is we grew up in 2012 onwards, and that's where we started. So we have a lot of really good uplifting trance from that era,
of course,
which we can showcase.
Yeah.
Manuel Lasso, like you mentioned earlier, was someone I listened to a lot in that day, and Fairy Tale. So a lot of good tracks. Yeah, they're over 10 years old now. So that's
what I was going to say. We're in 2026. This is like nearly 15 years, if not more.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that there's a lot of trance that just gets forgotten.
Yeah, and
you
I think
know?
that era hasn't been showcased so as much, and it's got some really, really good tunes.
So there you go, guys. Don't miss out. If you want to hear trance from that particular, there was a track from Menno de Jong. I think it was Turtle Paradise.
Yes.
I absolutely love that track, and it is from that time period. You know, so we can't disregard that stuff. It's got to be played, and you know, we're really looking forward to Lax and Lokesh just playing some absolute, you know, amazing tracks from that period. Also classics, but also your productions. Yeah. So guys, to wrap up, thanks so much for your time. We're really looking forward to Resonate on the 22nd of August at the Burdekin. It's a Saturday. It starts at 7 o'clock, not too late. The boys who were playing a 2-hour headliner set, which we're really looking forward. And yeah, tickets are on sale on our Insta and Facebook. The links to our Austic portal there. There's also, we might be running a competition or two, but yeah, just keep in touch with our updates on our pages. Really looking forward for you guys to join us. See you guys there.
All right, thank you guys. See you there, and look forward to it. See you, everyone. Thank you.
Yes.